Congress and we're going to win, and then Senate is going to tell what are they going to do and how they're going to fail the American people.
Yeah, I think we've come up with a number on a continuing resolution for 30 days, and I think that makes sense.
We're going to pass legislation that curbs our spending, secures our border, and puts America in a stronger position for the future.
House Republicans reporting progress on spending negotiations yesterday. They are planning on voting on the Pentagon appropriations bill later today, after 2 of the 5 members who blocked that bill earlier this week have reportedly changed their position. Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who says he will keep Congress for a rare Saturday session this weekend. He's also reportedly receiving support on a new framework for the continuing resolution. The bill now includes a top-line spending level of $1.471 trillion for the duration of the short-term funding measure. Joining us right now is Texas Congressman Jodey Arrington. He is the chairman of the House Small Business Committee and a member of the House Ways and Means Committee. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. Do you see progress? Where do we stand here?
Yeah, this is the debate you want from your Republican majority, right? We're going line by line, account by account to root out the woke and waste and right-size the bureaucracy, strengthen the military, secure the border, put the Democrats in a position, Maria, where they have to answer the question to the American people. Do you want to shut the government down? Do you want to secure the border? Which do you choose? I think the American people are ready to make their sentiment loud and clear to the administration. So I think we're on the right track. I think we'll get something done this weekend, and I think it will hit all of our objectives, policy and budget.
Well, it's been so difficult to really crack this reckless spending that we've seen in the last couple of years. Aren't you supposed to have discretionary spending of $1.6 trillion, and yet your colleagues on the left, the Democrats, spent $6 trillion in the last 2.5 years?
Well, they actually spent $11 trillion, but $6 went to the national debt. That was deficit financing, and yeah, it's been out of control completely, and it's what has ignited the cost of living crisis. It's where we've got this record inflation and interest. It's also a drag on the economy, and then it's driving this unsustainable debt that's going to bankrupt the country. So this is the first step. The bigger is the 10-year balanced budget that will reduce $16 trillion that we passed out of our budget committee yesterday.
Well, let's talk about that, because there have been your colleagues on this program who feel that there's not enough cuts in any of this, certainly not the continuing resolution. I just spoke with Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs in the last hour. He explained why he's still a no against this bill. Watch this.
We've got bills, Maria, 2 bills that haven't even been marked up in committee on the appropriations docket of 12 bills, and to say that we're going to keep it at 1471 when we don't know where these cuts are coming in, we don't know what the policies are going to be, is irresponsible.
Congressman, you're the chairman of the Budget Committee. I guess the question becomes, how come this hasn't been done in the last 9 months? We knew this was coming.
Well, it should have been. There's no excuse except the fact that we haven't looked line by line and done a zero-based budgeting on the discretionary in a decade. We didn't negotiate a debt ceiling in over a decade. We haven't reduced year-over-year spending in a decade. So we're getting our fiscal house in order, and it's a painful and protracted process. But the most important thing is we rein in the spending, and we start making headway with the bloat that is carried over from COVID, and then turn our attention to the mandatory spending, the entitlement programs. Those are the real debt drivers. And then look at the fraudulent spending, which is $2 trillion over 10 years. And then there are a number of other items in the long run that are not tens of billions, they're trillions of dollars. And if we don't get after that component of our budget, which is the real runaway spending, we'll never balance, and we'll never put this country on strong fiscal footing for the future.
Yeah, which is why your colleagues are pushing back, a handful of them. Kayleigh, jump in here.
Congressman, it feels like we just went through this a few months ago during the debt ceiling negotiations when Republicans put together a great policy package that would have reduced spending, would have increased border security, and yet many of those important policies were not included in the final bill. And now you have some of your own colleagues, Representative Victoria Spartz, sort of tossing water on the idea that Senate Republicans will take up what you guys pass. So how confident are you that this bill that you guys put forward is going to be different than the proposal that was made earlier this summer?
I think it's going to be similar because the Limit, Save, Grow, or our first offer on the debt ceiling deal, was a lot more conservative in its fiscal reforms and its spending cuts than what we finally agreed to with the Democrats who run the Senate and the Democrat that's in the White House, right? I mean, this is a negotiation. We need the most conservative funding bill with the most conservative policies in this funding package. That's what we're going to get. If we have to get it in another 30 days, then so be it. But that's what we've got to put in play because we know what's coming back isn't going to be what we put in the House funding package.
Yeah, exactly. And the Senate could blow it all up and we still see a government shutdown, right?
That's right, but let's let the Senate have to answer the question, right. Do you want to strengthen the military? Do you want to save the country from a debt crisis? Do you want to secure the border and protect the 100,000+ citizens of our country who are dying from drug overdose? And the other elements that are threatening the lives of our citizens that are coming across the border. Yeah. That's the debate that we need to have.
Right, and I know that there's common ground on securing the border, and yet Alejandro Mayorkas is still there running things, saying that the border is secure, even as these pictures are so obvious. Massive groups of Venezuelan nationals gathering under a bridge in Eagle Pass, Texas. This is just yesterday. More than 4,000 illegal migrants crossed the border on Wednesday alone. Eagle Pass now declaring a state of emergency. Look at these pictures. Fox News Digital obtained newly leaked images that appear to show the Biden administration's planned identification cards for illegal migrants. ICE is hoping the photo IDs can be used to help verify an immigrant's identity and see if they can be deported, Congressman. But there are also plans to give illegals driver's license in the hope that they can vote. What is going on?
This president is derelict, obviously, in his first job, which is to protect the American people, provide a common defense. We know that. He's completely undeterred in leaving the border totally in chaos and leaving our citizens vulnerable, the poor folks that are being abused by the drug cartels because they're encouraged to come to this country. And it's pretty pathetic that we've ceded control of the border to drug cartels. Listen, the only hope for stopping it at this point, in my mind, is Governor Abbott and state leaders exercising their constitutional right. It's explicit in the Constitution. States have the sovereign power of self-defense when there's an invasion or imminent threat. Imminent danger that exists. Obviously, nobody will dispute that. They need to secure the border. They need to enforce the immigration laws, and they need to protect the citizens in Texas and throughout the country. This president won't do that. So we've got to lean in and double down on our state efforts to do what he's failing to do.
They're not doing it. You know that. How are you going to get them to do it? You're an elected official. What can you do now to move the needle here?
Well, we have the power of subpoena and our oversight responsibilities, and we have the power of the purse. So it's exactly what we're talking about. We've got to put not just get the budget targets right, but also put the policies of securing the border. There are other policies too, but securing the border would be at the top of the list, and putting that in the funding package and sending it over to the Senate. Okay. Listen, you shouldn't shut a government down for any light and trite reason, but if we're not going to do the first job to protect the people and provide a common defense, what's the point in having a federal government?
Yep. All right. Mr. Chairman, good to see you. Thanks very much. Jodey Arrington is the chairman of the House Budget Committee. We'll be watching. Quick break, and then we